Now once you say that you're with us, you're in it, simple in it. That's all I need from you wimps, just a couple minutes. I got a dream of clean memes for these fucking sinners, but I need street teams ready to get something finished. That's why I'm stuck here singing, no, I will not stop, no matter if I had a habit.
It's complex, but with such a complex word that's been interpreted so many different times over, this is why I feel it's safe to look at the etymology, like the linguistics of the thing. So civilization, Asian is like the act of, or like formation, like creation, like, I don't know, damnation. Civilization is a city-based culture. It's a form of human society that builds cities. That's why it's got the civ, civis, citizen, civics. That's my definition. Cities.
Do you think that there's anything beneficial which we have derived from city life that in a way defines us as human? And so if we were to just get rid of it, would we even be human anymore? Because I know you say it's human culture that's the problem, but what is it that makes human culture different than nature?
I don't know if you, this is something that I've been meaning to talk to you, Matt, about for a while. It's like, I don't know, did you read Ishmael? Maybe you need to reread that book.
Maybe I do. What did I miss?
Don't you remember, or maybe, I don't even know if it was in Ishmael, but there was one, it must have been, where he says, we are not humanity.
Right.
We have this cosmic we, and we have been saying that it is human. So human culture, man builds tools or whatever, all this bullshit. Mm-hmm. But it's not so much that I'm saying it's not that humans are the problem, it's human culture that's the problem. I'm saying it's a specific culture. It's our culture, civilized culture. Mm-hmm. So right now that culture looks like all humans because it's swallowed up like 99% of the living humans. Right. But it's not yet human culture. Once it swallows up the last indigenous tribes, then it'll be human culture. But up until that point, it's civilized human culture, and uncivilized human culture is a totally different thing. Those people are making blowguns, wearing loincloths, fucking hunting monkeys, and they have nothing industrial about them. So, I would say civilization is inherently industrial. There's no way that you could have a non-capitalistic, a non-industrial, non-materialistic civilization. It's in the definition of the thing. It's what's an industrial society? Oh, it's a civilization. I wrote this paper a couple years ago in which I theorized that the will to civilization is the same will to murder your friend at a lunch date. You go out for lunch with your friend, and you could kill him and take his money, but you don't, and you go out for a life as a human being. And you could build a civilization, which would be the same kind of behavior, but not everybody does. And I think that the choice is available to all humans, but it's not made by all humans. It's only been made by like 2%, and then that 2% has ballooned over like 12,000 years. And now it looks like 100%, which is like the most frightening thing because it's such a stupid decision. It was only ever adopted by like 2%. They just ballooned.
I view that there's a possibility for civilization to mimic organisms, and there are certain patches of the organism that are more complex and more responsible. So there is a type of hierarchy involved, but not all hierarchies are bad. There's a type of holarchy. It's very dependent, mutually dependent on all the parts, but they're not created equal. As in, there are parts that kind of crystallize into educational parts that are more practical, like powerhouse, like mitochondria of the civilization, of the group. So I would consider a group of humans coming together and realizing there are things that they can do. When they crystallize, they can become more complex and more organized, and take care of other parts of the whole body. And in that sense, it would mimic a organism and try to sustain itself and be mutually dependent on all of its functions of societies, however complex or however important they are. Right. They all kind of have a role to play in sustaining the whole entity of civilization.
Civilization for me is, like you said, the Asian part of it means it's an ongoing process, and we haven't succeeded. We're not civilized right now. I would almost say the human being, as what we call the intelligent, self-aware animal, that hasn't really materialized yet. That hasn't become a reality. That's a goal that we're trying to accomplish. But and I think this sort of postmodern intellectual climate where, you know, people start to recognize all the oppression that supports our civilization, be it our exploitation of the environment and the ecosystems, the rest of the Earth community,
Yeah.
our exploitation of Africans and, you know, other indigenous peoples throughout history and colonialization and whatnot. We're recognizing all of these things, but it's not so clear that the whole project has been a mistake. What's clear is that we haven't done it well, but I think the underlying intention here to become civilized is a good intention. It's just a matter of working out the kinks, and there are obviously kinks. But
Yeah.
you know, the reason I criticize walk away is because it's too late. We're too far into the project. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but we're certainly at the cusp of, you know, like sink or swim right now. You know, right now. Or maybe a year ago. Maybe it was just 5 minutes ago that we passed the point of no return. I'm not sure, but we definitely need to work out some problems, but we can't just give up on the larger process. Obviously we've made mistakes, but it seems like we're too far in to just toss the whole project, you know?
Yeah, it sounds good. I mean, it all sounds like a good idea. 12,000 years ago, you know, sitting in the fucking middle of ancient Iraq, it sounds like a good idea. And even now, it sounds like a good idea. It's like I have a hard time deciding if I'm a pessimist or an optimist, because usually I say that I'm an optimist because I think that we can come together and save our planet from imminent destruction and, you know, be human beings. But I'm a pessimist, I think, in that I don't think that this is the time for, you know, post-human improvement. Like, I do think that there are higher planes that we could get to, and we can make ourselves better people, and we could have great societies that are capable of traveling hundreds of thousands of years, I guess, if you really want to do that. But you know, right now we're about to kill everything, and I think it's like more like 2 or 3 years rather than 20 years. Although I might be biting my words in 3 years, but if I'm not, then you guys should have listened to me. And the other thing is, this is the spiritual bit of it, which is, I mean, my anti-spiritual spirituality teaches that this is fine. You know, like they haven't been able to improve on this. You know, like, this is good, and, like, this is okay. Like, we're okay. We don't need to go to the stars. We don't need to live like the Jetsons. We don't need fucking Inmendum's blowjob machines. You know? Like, we just need to take a step back. You know, and this is where the Taoism bit comes in. This is where the Buddhism bit comes in, because it's like, if we all would realize that we already had everything, that food was given to us for free by God, then we would not be doing this, you know? Like, what's the point of being an intellectual if you don't need it to eat?
Yeah. I think this is a difference among spirituals. Some that are very content with everything we have here. We've already had it, so let's revert back to nature, what we have here. And then there's this different type of, like, you're talking about fantasizing about the cosmos and the Jetsons, what we can become in the future.
I just wanted to throw in the one thing, not only appreciate how good it is. I talked to this one Earth First activist who put it really well. He said, the beauty and the conflict. You know, so I'm not trying to be all conflict, although the conflict's a big part of it, but you can't also just sit back and be all beauty, because then you're like fucking the Rising Meadow or whatever, you know, and you're just like a big pile of hugs. And what fucking good are you? No offense.
Shout out
no
to
offense,
the Rising Meadow. Shout out. Yeah.
Because if I speak to him, Michael, I'm not trying to be offensive. You know, I'm trying to call us all higher.
I stay mad, hit the bag, ain't quitting, breathe air, man. They scared you and frozen feet cold. Come on, that's why I do this.